In this lesson, we will explore the KC7 Cyber Security platform, offering a hands-on approach to kickstarting your cybersecurity career. Greetings, and a warm welcome to the KC7 Cybersecurity platform. KC7 represents a gaming experience designed to deliver a hands-on, enjoyable, and immersive approach to learning cybersecurity. Let's dive deeper into what KC7 has to offer. The KC7Cyber.com platform is a cybersecurity education and training platform. It is designed for individuals and professionals seeking to enhance their knowledge and skills in cybersecurity. Users can access the platform at any time, providing a flexible learning schedule, and it's free. The platform is accessible online, enabling users to learn from anywhere with an internet connection. KC7Cyber.com aims to address the growing need for cybersecurity expertise by offering comprehensive and practical training. Users can engage in hands-on learning, simulations, and courses provided by KC7Cyber.com to acquire cybersecurity knowledge and practical skills. We will take you on a journey exploring the data and discovering what actions adversaries have taken. The rest of the how is what this video is all about, so let's get into it. To get started, grab the companion guide from the link in the show notes below. Also, if you like this content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any new videos. And we're back. Okay, so we have our companion guide, and we also have KC7 on the main stage on the right here. So let's go through the companion guide as we kick this off. First and foremost, if this is your first time seeing this, you want to make sure you visit the show links in the bottom and make sure you go to the ADX Getting Started video. This will show you how to set up your account and also get the data, which is we're going to be working on shortly. Okay, we also want to visit KC7Cyber.com. Here it is here, KC7Cyber.com, and you're going to log in or sign up. So on this side here, I want to start playing. I click on start playing and I see some modules here. I was already logged in. Let's go ahead and log out just real quickly so you can see some of the options. If I click play, you see you have a couple of options here. Sign up. Obviously, this is what you would do if this is your first time here. You need a username, an email address, a password. You're going to agree to the T&Cs and you're going to register your account. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in and I'm going to do that momentarily. I'm logged in and we see that we have these portions ticked off. So here we go. It says start here. You want to go to your modules. You're going to start here and you basically need three things to get going here. So my core modules is the balloons over Iowa module. This is the kickoff module. It gets you started. And we have three things that we need here. We need the questions, the training guide, and the query data. So let me bring my companion guide up a little bit. If this is your first time here, which it is in your case, you're going to go through the KQL 101. This is the Custer Query Language. And we're going to say, help, I'm new here. So the first thing is, let's click on this part here. And you see the challenges. This is this section here, the challenges, the training data, and the query data. The training data is what we want. So I'm going to close this out. And if you go to training data, it's going to open up a new tab, and it's going to give you all of the information that you need about the company. Now, as a junior cybersecurity analyst, you want to know a little bit about the company you're working for, or maybe I should say that differently. You really want to know a lot. We're here for the business. We're here to increase revenues, decrease expenses, maximize efficiencies, and mitigate risk. That's what our job is here. So we want to understand what the business is all about. This will give you the information that you need, and we'll talk about the objectives in a moment. So this is the Getting Started guide. So great, we have the training guide. Then you also need the data. So I'm going to click on the data. It's going to kick off the Azure Data Explorer. I'm going to bring it over on this side. And this is the data that we're going to do our log analysis. And we had an in-depth video in the Azure Data Explorer Getting Started that walks you through this. So we have that checked off. And then ultimately, you need the questions. So let's go back to the KC7. This is me authenticated, and I'm all set. I need the questions. and here are the questions. So I'm going to peel this tab off, bring it over to the side here, and I'm going to go back to my data, and we're going to actually go through these questions. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about our acknowledgements and the learner contract. So first and foremost, I think we should give a shout out to the creators of the KC7 Cyber platform. I think it's a great opportunity for us to work with data and see what a typical day or week or month or year looks like from an analyst perspective. So if you want to follow them, you can follow them at KC7 Cyber on X, formerly known as Twitter. So give them a shout out if you can, like or follow them. And then also I want to talk about the learner contract, which is I don't want to rob you of the experience of solving these challenges. The aim of these videos is to raise awareness, point you in the right direction, and get you started, and then you finish the exercises. In this case here, when we come back to the questions on this side here, we actually did these already because they were part of the training lab. So we have our data here. And we have our first question, so let's go ahead and get right into this here. So we have our question. The first thing, it says, welcome to the exciting world of KC7. It says you need to have the Azure Data Explorer. We do. We have the training guide, which we just saw. We'll also put a link of that into the show notes. And it says do a take 10 on all the other tables to see what kind of data they have. And we did that before. We did this in the previous exercise. I'm just going to take a quick one here. So I'm going to look at employees. I'm going to do auto complete. I'll do a take 10. I do shift enter and I just completed a take 10. This is fantastic. When I'm done, it says type done, as it says here. I do done, I submit, and I've just answered one of the questions and I've earned a few points by doing that. Fantastic. Okay, let's continue to question number 2. Question number 2 says we can use the count command to find out how many rows are in a table. This tells us how much data is stored. So we're going to do the employees count. So I'm going to back the take 10 out. And it says, let's see how many employees are in there. We see 729. Okay, great. So I'm going to answer that question. Put it in to the KC7cyber.com. Submit. And great, I answered another question. Let's go to question number 3. It says we can use the where command. And look like this. This is awesome, right? So we can use the where command to find particular aspects of a table. So let's just do a take 10 again so we can see what the table looks like. So I'm going to do a take 5. I only need to know what these look like. I'm also going to collapse the connection pane on this side here. And we want to do name. We want to find out an employee who has the where name as. But the specific question is each employee has an IP address. Find out the employee who has 192.168.2.191. So I'm going to copy this into buffer. I copy, and I see IP address is the column header name. So I'm going to use the where command. So I say where IP address. So if I do IP address, it starts to autocomplete. I hit tab to finish that. I want an exact match, open quote. I go ahead and paste that IP address, and it says Ronald Walker is the employee that has that. So I'm going to copy that into buffer, come over here, and paste. And I hit submit. Okay, pretty easy, right? Let's go to question 4. Now it's just not going to give us any of the hints. It just gets right into it. And if you need help, you can also go to Discord. So the KC7 Cyber community runs a Discord, so you can run some questions. Because we have done this already, I'm going to continue with this so that way we can see the completion of the KQL 101 exercise. So I'll close this out. I'll keep this here. Now we want to know a little bit about Betty Land. So we have the employees table. So I think I just need to take a look and say where, and I see name, and I want to say name has, and in this case here it's going to be Betty. So let's just see if we can see a Betty. I do Control K to trim that, and let's run it. And we see Betty Land's, and I see Betty Land's email address. Okay, great. So I want to know how many emails did Betty Land receive. I open this up to see that there's a different table here, the email table. So I'm probably going to look for all email addresses that were inbound. So I'm going to copy this here, head over to the email tab, and in email, I accept that. If I hit enter, I get the pipe command, and I'm going to take 3. Just want to see what that looks like. Okay, the recipient. So let's do this real easy. I'm going to do where recipient is going to be a direct match. I'm going to do double equals. I'm going to paste that from the buffer. And here's the recipient. I want a distinct recipient. And actually, let's just do a count just quickly. Let's just see if a count will give us what we're looking for, because we don't necessarily need an exact match here at this point. So good. I have the count. Let's see what this looks like if it was wrong. We know it's 17. If I put the wrong answer in here, let's go ahead and put in 5. It says, oops, that's not right. Question 4 remains unsolved. We're going to put in 17. And great, we have solved question number 4. Let's move on to 5. How many balloon over Iowa employees receive emails with the term UFOs in the subject? Okay, so we're going to go back here. I'm going to stay in the email tab. And I'm just doing a take 3 again, just to get a little bit of the options here. Collapse the connection pane so I can see all of the options in the table. And I see that subject is what I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm going to look for where, let's get rid of this, where subject has UFOs. Let's see, what do we have here? Wow, we have quite a bit. What are UFOs? There's different ones. We want a distinct subject. We want to make sure we're not getting all the duplicates in here. For example, this is a duplicate. So we want a distinct. So let's see if that looks right. So we'll do distinct subject. Take a quick look there. We have 761. And I'm going to do a quick count, but we already see we have the count here. A couple of things I may want to do where it says it has the term UFOs. Let's see if contains will give us a different number. Let's see if contains will give us a different number. I get the double quotes here. I close that out. And let's see, we still have 76 records. Now, the question here is, how many balloons over Iowa employees receive these emails? These are all the emails, but there may be other ones that are happening here. There could be other people receiving these emails. So I'm going to rem out or comment out the distinct subject. We'll head up over here. And then at this point here, I'm going to do a where recipient has, open quote, and I'm going to put the Iowa balloons. So we want to do Iowa balloons.com and try and narrow that down a little bit. And we have where it contains UFOs, where recipient has Iowa balloons, and this looks pretty good. So let's continue to refine this here. Let's see if there's a count. And I'm going to see the count. Obviously, we see the 670 records. Let's try that and see what happens and see if it's going to work. Maybe we get a mistake. And it says, oh, close, but no cigar. So that means something is wrong here. And let's go ahead and troubleshoot. So it says, how many balloons over Iowa employees received emails with the term UFOs in the subject? So we just want it contains, but I'm going to go back to has, because we just want to make sure it has that term in there. And we also want has Iowa balloons and see if that number looks a little bit different. And we only have one that has only that record. So we know that doesn't work. So we'll go back to contains. And we want to make sure that all of this is fine. So let's go ahead and do a little bit more troubleshooting. Okay, so we'll continue with our troubleshooting. So we see we have where UFOs, where subject contains UFOs, we have our count. We're going to run this with the shift enter. We only have one here. I don't like this here. So where subject contains UFOs is okay. Where recipient has Iowa balloons.com, that seems fine too. So what I'm going to do here is, these are probably typographical errors. So I'm going to do an email down here. And I'm going to do a take 4 just to see what that looks like. And it's Iowa balloons, and make sure we have that. So I'm going to just take a piece of this here and make sure that I'm not misspelling anything. Where recipient has, I don't need the count. Okay, this looks better for me here. I like this here. We want a distinct recipient. I like the 441 that I'm seeing here in the records here. I'm going to do an official count. We'll see what that looks like. I'll go ahead and put 441. Great, and we have solved that. So we use the where subject contains UFO, where recipient has Iowa balloons, and we want distinct recipients. Okay, good. Let's go to question 6. How many unique websites did Jorge Hardwick visit? Okay, first we need to find Jorge. So I'm going to open this up so we can look at our tables. And as you see, we're going back and forth with the tables. First, we need to know Jorge's IP address. So we're going to go to the employees. I'm going to use the search command here. So I'm just going to do search, and we're going to look for Jorge. And let's see how many Jorges are in there. And this is going to look, wow, that's quite a bit. We may not want to do that. There's too many Jorges going on in this table here. So let's not use that. Let's go ahead and use where. And this was the email. So this is the wrong tab to begin with. So that's a problem here. So I want to make sure I'm in the right tab, right? So I'm going to go to employees. And let's go ahead and do that in the employees. And let's see if search is going to work for us here. So I'm going to do search. And this is why I like doing this in real time and live. So you can see some of the typographical errors or some of the mistakes depending on where we are, and make sure we're not wasting too much time. So we have a Jorge Hardwick, right? So this is great. I have a Jorge Hardwick. There were 2 of them, 2 Jorges here. This is the IP address that I'm looking for. So I'm going to copy that into buffer. If I want to, I can use this as my scratch pad, right? So we can do command, / and just make this as my scratch space if I want to. And that just could be a little note to myself. So I go back to employees. I know this is Jorge's, and I want to see how many unique websites did Jorge visit. So I want to look at the outbound browsing table here. So I'm going to go down a little bit, double click on outbound browsing, and in this case here, let's do a quick take 4 to see what it looks like, and it's source IP that I'm looking for. So I want to know where source IP, exact match, open quote, paste that IP address, is Jorge's IP address, which is fantastic, 168. We see unique addresses here. I can throw the distinct just to be sure. And let's see, URL, just to be sure, let's go ahead and just do a distinct, because that's kind of like a clue. Distinct URLs. 11 is what I'm getting here on this side here. Let's throw the count command just so we can bring it into the results page. We have 11, and let's see if 11 is going to satisfy. Okay, fantastic. This looks great. So now we're on to question 7. It says, how many domains in the PassiveDNS records contain the word infiltrate? Okay, good. I'm going to see contains the word infiltrate. They kind of give me a heads up here with the word contain. I'm going to copy that. This is good. And it looks like the table that I'm working on is PassiveDNS. So all this I can get rid of, right? I can keep it if I wanted to. I can collapse them and get them out of the way. I'll probably do that for now. I want just a little bit more real estate, a little bit more scratch space here. And we're going to use the PassiveDNS. So I'm going to double click on the PassiveDNS, and I just want to do a take 4 to get a sense of what are my options. And I'm looking for the word infiltrate in this domain. So I'm going to say where domain contains, open quote, infiltrate, and hit enter. And I see a number of domains that have that here. I'm going to just do a quick count. And I see there were 10 of them. Let's see if 10 is going to give it to us. Maybe we get lucky. And it says it doesn't, so we probably want to have distinct domains. So I'm going to say distinct URL. Right, we don't want that. Control K. And it's not working for us, so let's see, what am I missing here? So I probably want to do a quick take 10. I can just do PassiveDNS here. Take 5 to see what is the absolute. Oh, so I want domain. So I want to look at this data, and rather than just do a count, I'm going to come up here, and I want distinct domains. And I see 7. Okay, I think 7 looks a little bit better. Get rid of this data here. Come back into KC7. Put in 7. And let's see if 7 is going to work for me. Fantastic. Looking good. Question 8. Okay, what IPs did the domain cheeseburger infiltrate resolve to? So we need some IP addresses here. So going to copy this. I'm back in the PassiveDNS. We solved our original question. I come here, I'll do a take 5 to see domains, and I want to see which ones have this here. So I'm going to say where domain contains, open quote, I paste that, get rid of the remainder, and why is that giving us an error? We want to see, where domain contains cheeseburger.infiltrate, and it looks like I have just a little bit too many wiggly lines here. Good. So here's my problem, or here's my solution. It says what IP addresses. We can take any of these IP addresses. So cheeseburger infiltrate resolves to 40.208.15.1. I take that IP address, put it into KC7, and now I have answered question number 8. And now we have a number 9. I'm sorry, number 9. Question, and this is 20 points. Oh, I'm sorry, I was going in a different direction in terms of the question numbers. This one's going to give me 20 points. How many unique URLs were browsed by employees named Karen? Okay, so this is where we're going to take output from one table and bring it into another. I like to build these into 2 separate tables. For example, I'll do an employee table first. I want to see how many Karens are there to begin with. So I'll go ahead with employees, and I'm going to say where name has Karen. Okay, so this looks good. And we see the IP address. So this is good. So I'm going to see that we have the IP address. There were 2 Karens, Karen Unger and Karen Kimball. Okay, I also want to get distinct IP addresses. So I'm going to say distinct IP addresses. Good. And we have the 2 distinct IP addresses. Now we also want to go and look at employee's name, how many URLs were browsed. So we'll go back to the outbound browsing. And in this case here, we have the table there. And I could actually put their IP addresses in here to find out which ones did they visit. And we saw that in the previous video. But now we want to do something a little bit more efficient. So I'm going to join this piece of code into the outbound browsing. So the way I do that is I put in a semicolon. I bring this up and I say outbound browsing, and I want to get that source IP. So I'm going to say where source IP is in that previous statement. So I'm going to just say URL browse underscore browse, and I'm going to use a let statement, and then I have to get this piece of code and set it up as URL browse. So I do let URL underscore browse equal employees. Okay, this is good. And let's make sure we have that right. So that's the right table. We'll hit enter. And then I also want to get a count out of it. Okay, before we run this, let's make sure this looks good. So we're saying let URL browse it comes employees. And where the name has Karen and distinct IP addresses is called let URL browse. Now in outbound browsing, we want where the source IP is in this piece here. It has to have distinct IPs and Karen. So we hit the count. Let's see what happens with shift enter, and we have 27. This looks familiar in our previous video. We're going to put in 27. We submit, and there you have it. We have completed the section 1 of KQL 101. Some easy questions, questions 1 through 9. We have our points, and let's go ahead and do some of our housekeeping. Remember to give a shout out to the folks that selected this. We could either, or created it, I should say. We could either follow them on X or like. And these are all the questions, and we can answer these questions, which we did. How many employees are in the company, each employees. And these are kind of questions that as you're getting a lay of the land on the database, they are good exercises to go through. Now, what are we doing next? We're going to complete section 2. So I'm going to go back into the KC7, which is on this side here. I'll bring it on this so you can see it. So what's next? We're done with this part here. The homework assignment is to go into section 2, the alien section. There's a group of questions here. We'll have a follow-up video to get us started on this, and then you'll complete it. But so far so good. You now have the complete set and 2 sides of the same coin. You now have the ADX, and you also have KC7 with KQL, and now you can do some threat hunting, find out where the threat actors are in our environment, and keep us safe. Good luck and happy hunting.